You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Janafel. Welcome back On Air with Chris Janafel as we continue our Player Spotlight series with the 2020 NFL Draft Class. And I'm now joined by the wide receiver out of the University of San Diego. He's two-time FCS All-American Michael Bandy. And Michael, I appreciate you taking the time to chat this evening. How's everything going?
It's going good. First off, I'd like to thank you again just for having me on. I really appreciate it, helping me get my name out there for this upcoming draft.
Certainly.
Things are good. Starting off with, we've been training these last couple of months, had the two bowl games, and I mean, things have been going pretty good, and I like where I'm at with my body, and kind of stinks with all the pro day stuff that's happening and a lot of things up in the air, but, just got to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, everything's kind of at a standstill at the moment. Before we go in depth about the draft process, Michael, I want to talk about your time at USD. Simply coming out of high school, what was the recruiting process like for you, and why did you feel that San Diego would ultimately be the best fit for you, both academically and athletically?
Well, I mean, first off, USD is a crazy good academic school. I mean, it was awesome just going through it. USD was actually my only offer coming out of high school. So, I mean, the loan offer, had to take it, and, I fell in love right away.
And, you didn't redshirt. You played right away as a freshman. You were a reserve, and then as a sophomore, you started 5 games. But it wasn't really until your junior season, Michael, in 2018, where you really exploded onto the scene. You hauled in 88 receptions for a program record, 1,698 yards, just 2 yards away from 1,700. And you also hauled in 14 touchdowns. You're a consensus All-American. What allowed you to have the breakout season that you had in 2018? Was it just a matter of being on the field more? Did you change anything up preparation-wise? What would you credit your breakout junior season to?
Well, I mean, it was just accumulation of all the hard work I'd put in. Sophomore year, I had a couple small injuries, just small things that kept me out of a couple games and kept me from starting. But, I mean, just all that hard work building up, and then junior year I was able to get on the field and stay healthy and definitely show what I could do. And then with the help of all my teammates, I mean, it was definitely a group effort, not just me.
And I gotta have you take us through that Davidson game, Michael. It was an offensive shootout. USD did come away with the victory, 56-52, as you guys exposed them in the passing game, throwing for over 550 yards, 7 touchdowns. But Davidson ran for nearly 800 yards and 7 touchdowns as well. Again, an offensive shootout. This was a game where you hauled in 10 receptions for 324 yards and 4 touchdowns, one of which went for 99 yards. Looking back, where does this game rank for you, and what did the coaches see in Davidson's defense that allowed you to have one of the best, one of the most dominating games that we've seen a wide receiver have in the FCS?
This is definitely probably my favorite game, just because it was so close. Like, honestly, the yards are amazing, but I mean, it was such a crazy game. They came out hot and ready to play, and we definitely underestimated them in the first half. And I think they got up early on us, like 24-7, and we ended up battling back, and then it was just a battle to the end. I mean, crazy yards for both teams, and a lot of offense. But our coaches saw that they like to stack the box. They'll play basically cover 1 or cover 3 on the outside with a lot of one-on-one matchups, and we just had to take advantage. Like on that 99-yard touchdown, it was just one-on-one on the outside, had a little conversion route, caught it, and took off. And that's kind of how that game went, with just a lot of one-on-ones and winning the battles and then running the ball when we can.
And again, 10 receptions for 324 yards, 4 touchdowns in a San Diego victory over Davidson, 56-52. This past season, Michael, as a senior, you recorded 75 receptions, over 1,100 yards, and 12 touchdowns. You're the only player at San Diego in the history of the San Diego football program to have back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons. You guys, as a team, finished 9-3, making an appearance in the FCS playoffs. And throughout your entire 4-year career at USD, Michael, you guys finished with winning records, and on top of that, an undefeated record against in-conference opponents. You guys finished 32-0 over the past 4 years in the Pioneer Football League. Complete domination. That's beyond impressive no matter what conference you're talking about. Is that an achievement that means anything to you, Michael? I mean, what's it been like playing under this coaching staff led by head coach Dale Lindsey, who has 46 years of experience coaching football, both in the pros and collegiately, not to mention he played professionally as well. Is that 32-0 record in conference, does that mean anything to you? And just talk about what it's been like learning and playing under this very impressive coaching staff led by Dale Lindsey.
First off, Coach Lindsey is absolutely amazing with all his wisdom and everything he knows about the game. I mean, it was incredible just to play under him and play under what he definitely helped build over at USD. That 32-0 is definitely probably the thing I'm most proud of about that team and what we did. I remember when we won that 32nd game, that last regular season game, I couldn't stop thinking about how we won 32 games in a row. But I mean, they're gonna keep doing it, and it started before I was there, and it's going to continue after. And it all starts with Coach Lindsey and his coaching staff.
And Michael, you went from former conference offensive player of the year Anthony Lawrence throwing you the football in 2018 to Reed Sinnett, who finished in the running for the Walter Payton Award in 2019. How was that transition for you as a wide receiver? How is the way that they play the quarterback position different from one another? And did you have to make any adjustments to your game due to the change at quarterback?
It was definitely an adjustment. They're two different, like you said, two different quarterbacks. But I mean, I could confidently say they're both two of my best friends. So, I mean, it wasn't too hard to build a good relationship on the field with them. I mean, Anthony had good receivers before him, and he's an incredible player, very, very smart. And then Reed has a really good arm and also really smart, very talented as well. They do definitely play different games, and it was a little bit of adjustment coming into the summer for my senior year. But Reed's actually my roommate, so we were together all the time, and he definitely built that good relationship as well.
Again, we're chatting with 2020 NFL Draft prospect, wide receiver out of the University of San Diego, Michael Bandy. And early in your career, Michael, you had the challenge of lining up against defensive back Jamal Agnew, who would go on to be drafted in the 5th round by the Detroit Lions. Now he's an all-pro return man. What were those matchups like every day? And has he given you any advice by chance as you now look to follow his footsteps into the NFL in a sense?
To be honest, I didn't get to go up against him that often just because he was a senior and I was a freshman. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't always with the starting group, but when I did go against him, I knew I got to do everything I can to try to win this draft because this guy's the man. And just as far as advice, it's just I'll see him in the weight room when he comes back to San Diego and just tells me to keep my head down and keep working, and we're next up as far as the guys coming up through San Diego.
And, the Pioneer Football League, Michael, seems to be a hotbed for talent at the tight end position. This year we have Dayton's Adam Troutman, who could hear his name called at some point, maybe in the 1st round of the draft. More likely, it sounds like 2nd or 3rd round. A couple years ago, Drake had Eric Saubert, a tight end that was drafted in the 5th round by the Falcons. Now he's with the Chicago Bears. Stetson had Donald Parham last year, played in the Senior Bowl, arguably the best player in the XFL, who will find his way back onto an NFL team here very soon. I think the next in line could be your teammate, Dalton Kincaid. This past season, he led all FCS tight ends in yards per catch. He's only going to be a junior this coming season, but he's gotten off to quite the start to his collegiate career, Michael. If he keeps this up, do you think pro teams will be calling?
Oh, definitely. This kid is talented like nothing I've ever seen before. His ability to make a catch with 10 guys draped all over him is pretty incredible, and he can do it all. I mean, he can block, he can run, he can catch. I mean, he's an amazing talent, and I can't wait to see where he goes.
He's 2020 NFL Draft prospect, All-American wide receiver out of San Diego, Michael Bandy, here on air. And, Michael, when did you realize that you were going to pursue an NFL career? I'm sure it's always been the dream, but when did it hit you that you had a legit shot at making it?
Probably my junior year when that year kind of took off. That's probably when I realized it. I just things started clicking and was able to put some numbers up, and people started to notice.
And for those not familiar with your game, Michael, how would you describe it? What would you say is your biggest strength as a wide receiver?
My hands. I like to think of myself as quarterback's best friend. And he can always get me the ball. I'll make the play.
We mentioned your former teammate Jamal Agnew. You didn't see too much time against him in practice. Taking teammates out of it, Michael, is there a player that comes to mind when thinking about some of the best players that you've played against over the years there at San Diego?
Yeah, there's been some really good players. I would say the toughest matchup I had was against J.J. Henderson out of Stetson. He's a cornerback out of Stetson, and he was a really tough matchup. And after the game, we both dapped each other up, and we knew it was a good fight.
We mentioned the most memorable game of your San Diego career, that 10-reception, 324-yard game, 4 touchdowns against Davidson. How about most memorable play that you've made over the past 4 years?
It was actually in that Davidson game. We had, this is actually pretty funny, we had a post route on the outside to me, and I was probably the only person on the field who wasn't open, but our quarterback still threw it, and I was able to make the play. It was like 2 guys on me, so that one was pretty memorable.
A few more questions for Michael Bandy, 2020 NFL Draft prospect out of the University of San Diego, wide receiver. And Michael, the coronavirus has gotten really the entire world, the entire country on a lockdown. Unfortunately, it's had an impact on NFL pro days. Was your pro day affected by the coronavirus, and where have you been training at for your pro day? Do you have a plan B? What's the latest on that situation?
So I'm training at school because I still have a semester to finish up. So, yeah, our pro day did get canceled. We're still trying to work with it and maybe team up with San Diego State to try to do something later in April before the draft. But we're going to try to get some filming of pro day out there and maybe set up something at another training facility to get something like that going. So we got some stuff in the works, and we're just trying to figure it out, roll with the punches.
Do you have any specific goals or any numbers in mind that you'd like to hit?
4.40. That's the goal, and I think I'm going to hit it.
All right. Obviously, the 40-yard dash is the number that everybody likes to keep an eye on, especially for wide receivers. I see the school website has you listed at 5'10", 190. Is that about where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm 5'9.5". That's the real measurement, yeah.
Okay. And how about current or former NFL players, Michael? Who are some guys that you like to watch? Who are some guys that you like to maybe take bits and pieces of their game and add it onto your own?
Julian Edelman. I love to watch him just because he's a gritty player and always makes the play. I like Cooper Kupp. Those are probably 2 of my favorite receivers right now. Yeah. Okay,
and obviously guys that have kind of had to crawl their way up to get to where they're at today. Cooper Kupp, a former FCS standout himself from Eastern Washington University, and then Julian Edelman, a former 7th-round draft pick, former college quarterback turned wide receiver. Certainly a great story there. How about defensive backs at the next level, Michael? I mean, is there a specific defensive back that you're really eager, to go one-on-one with?
To be honest, that's a good question. I've never really thought about being eager to go against someone. I just want to go out there and be able to get on that field and, make plays.
Final question, then we'll let you go. Really do appreciate your time. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're listening to this very interview. Why should they want the wide receiver out of the University of San Diego, Michael Bandy, a part of their team?
Because I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to put the work in to prepare for each and every game, each and every practice. Do everything in my power and everything I can to put myself in the best position, put the team in the best position to win on Sundays.
Well, Michael, I really appreciate you taking the time this evening. Congratulations on all the success at the University of San Diego. I certainly hope things work out all right with your pro day. Hopefully we're able to get something figured out there. And really looking forward to seeing what the next 35, 40 days have in store for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on again.